My parents have 4 kids already. Me, 17-year-old male, my younger sister, 13-year-old female, younger brother, 12-year-old male, and youngest sister, 10-year-old female. My parents have relied on me heavily to take care of my siblings. It started when I was still too young to do much, but they'd put them in my room if a nightmare happened, and after each sibling was 6 months old, they started sharing a room with me until they were 3. Then it was getting me to prepare something to eat for my younger siblings. It was also staying home with them while mom went shopping, and over time it evolved. I help with homework, I make sure they're awake for school, I walk them to school since I don't have a car, I feed them, and most of the time I'm the one they come to if they need help with something. My parents will drop them off at birthday parties or to friends' houses. They'll take us out for family experiences, but admittedly expect me to keep an eye on my siblings. My parents provide the food, house, and clothes. I provide the emotional support. I don't love doing it, but I got so used to it that it became second nature. I'm still the person my youngest sister comes to if she has a nightmare or is afraid of anything during the night. My parents learned they were pregnant again in February. They told me and my siblings last month. It was very much talked about, like I will have the baby with me in my room for the jump and should learn how to independently change diapers and stuff. I made it clear from the jump that I wasn't raising their next kid for them. I told them I had more responsibility to my 3 siblings than I should have ever had, but I wasn't going to skip my own life to raise an infant from the start. My parents were shocked. They tried to get one of my younger siblings on board, but they said no way. They didn't want to be responsible like me. My parents returned to me with the topic and asked what they're meant to do, and they never expected me to reject a sibling like this. I said I reject child raising another one of their kids, not a sibling. But also, I'll be out of the house in 7 months. I won't be around the new sibling as much, and the relationship might not be the same. I told them I don't want the same relationship either. I don't want to be a parent to another sibling. They made it pretty clear they don't want to do the actual child raising, and they're living a nightmare over this. When the topic came up during the last week, I told them they need to place the baby for adoption since they won't have a good childhood with nobody wanting to raise them. I told my parents it would be the kindest thing to do if they refused to raise the baby themselves. My parents accused me of treating adoption flippantly, and they were sort of outraged. I would rather they place the baby for adoption than for me to step up and raise this one too. Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Get your hands on any important documents, birth certificate, and hide it. Get a license or a non-driver ID. I would get a job if you can and start saving. Figure out how much money you need to rent near you. Get references lined up from teachers. Good luck, OP. Absolutely not the jerk, NTA. Comment 2. They were sorta outraged. I would rather they place their baby for adoption than for me to step up and raise this one too. The complete lack of self-awareness and accountability they need to think this, let alone say it, is mind-boggling. Not the jerk, NTA. OP. Plan for your escape now. Now for the update. 2 days after the last incident, dinner at home was awkward. Like you could cut the silence with a knife. No one wanted to look at anyone else, and the only sounds were the clinking of forks and the TV in the background. I thought we could get through a meal without talking about the baby situation, but that was wishful thinking. Out of nowhere, my youngest sister, Lucy, piped up and asked if the baby was still coming. Just like that, the silence got even thicker. My parents exchanged these worried glances, trying to reassure her that everything was fine, but we all knew it wasn't. I felt bad for Lucy. She's only 10 and shouldn't have to deal with this crap. So I decided it was time to get out of there. I told my siblings I was taking them out for ice cream. We piled into my old car and I cranked up the music. It was nice to see them smile again, at least for a bit. But then, when we got to the ice cream shop, my brother Ben had to go and bring up the baby again. He asked if we could keep it, and I just wanted to scream. I told them we should focus on enjoying our ice cream instead of worrying about stuff we can't control. I felt like a dad saying that, but it was true. Mia, my oldest sister, suggested we go back to the park after ice cream. That was a good idea, so we did. At the park, we played tag, and for a little while it felt like we were just kids again, not dealing with all this grown-up drama. I checked my phone and saw I had a ton of missed calls from my mom. Great. Just what I needed. I called her back, and she sounded frantic on the other end. She said we needed to talk about the baby's future again, and I felt this wave of dread wash over me. I told her I'd meet her at home after our outing, and I just wanted to get it over with. When I got back home, my parents were sitting on the couch looking super serious, like they were about to deliver some bad news. My mom started talking about their options for the baby and mentioned parenting classes. I couldn't believe it. I had to interrupt her and said we really needed to consider adoption more seriously. My dad raised his voice and said adoption would be abandoning our own child. I was like, are you kidding me? I countered that we can't take care of the baby properly if we're all overwhelmed like this. It was just a bad idea. Before I knew it, it escalated, and my siblings were sent to their rooms so they wouldn't have to listen to us argue. I had to stand my ground and insist that I wouldn't take on any of the responsibility for this baby. My mom suddenly burst into tears and said all they wanted was to be a family. I took a deep breath. That hurt, but I knew we needed to talk about a plan moving forward. I couldn't keep doing this. My dad proposed a family meeting to discuss our feelings and options openly. It was going to be uncomfortable, but I knew we had to do it. During the family meeting, the atmosphere was charged, and everyone spoke their mind. My siblings were brave enough to express their fears about the new baby, and it broke my heart. They were scared it would take away all the attention they got from me, and I couldn't blame them for feeling that way. My parents shared their struggles too. They were feeling inadequate and overwhelmed, which was honestly surprising to me. I suggested finding a counselor to help guide our discussion. Everyone was taken aback by that, but we all agreed to consider it. A few days later, we attended a family session together. It was really helpful to talk about our fears openly with a counselor. They helped us communicate more effectively, which eased some of the tension in our house. My parents revealed that they had been feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how they were going to handle this baby. That made me feel a bit better. At least they weren't just ignoring how hard it was going to be. I suggested creating a plan for how we could all support each other with the new baby. My parents agreed, and it felt like we were finally on the same page. My siblings started to feel hopeful about their roles with the new baby, and I was relieved to see that. We all needed something to look forward to, especially them. We decided to host a gathering with close relatives to discuss the baby. At the gathering, relatives shared their own experiences about welcoming new siblings. It was nice to hear some positive stories. My cousins took the time to talk to my siblings after. They reassured them that they would still get plenty of love from me. That made me feel good. But then, my parents dropped another bombshell. They told us they were thinking about keeping the baby and parenting it themselves. I felt like I got punched in the gut. I didn't know what to say, so I just went to my room. I couldn't talk to them. I felt like they weren't being realistic at all. I just can't keep doing this. You guys, I love my siblings, I really do. But this is too much for me. I don't think they understand how much work a newborn is. I'm not ready to be a parent, so I really need you guys to tell me if I'm being an a-hole. I'm just really hoping for the best. Also, I read every comment, so please comment. Edit. My parents plan to take parenting classes and see how they feel after the baby is born. They insist on giving it a chance, which I understand, but I'm still unsure. Am I the idiot for refusing to leave a party after my girlfriend embarrassed herself complaining in German? A coworker invited me to a housewarming party. He bought a really nice house with a large yard, a pool, and even a waterfall flowing into the pool. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily friends with him, but we're friendly and make small talk when we see each other. We don't really hang out by ourselves. He's a nice guy, but we don't have too many interests. He told me I could bring my girlfriend. At that party, I knew about 3 out of the 40 people there. At the party, my girlfriend began complaining to me about the food options, saying they don't follow her diet, she can't eat them, the host should have gotten better food, the paintings on the wall are tacky, his furniture sucks, that the music is pretty lame, and a bunch of other ridiculous complaints. We live in São Paulo at the moment, but we're from a region in southern Brazil where most people speak Hunsrück, which is a type of German, though it's a bit distinct from standard German. Someone from Germany wouldn't understand everything I say. She complained in Hunsrück, assuming that everyone at the party only knew Portuguese. But my coworker was near us and he said what I guess is standard German. "I'm sorry we don't have any food that fits your dietary restrictions. If you are hungry, there is a store about 400 meters from here. It closes in an hour. I'm sorry you don't appreciate the music selection. Would you like to play something?" My girlfriend looked shocked, her jaw dropped, and she just stuttered for a bit. A few people snickered in the back, and another guy translated what happened. She responded back in Portuguese, "How do you all know German?" I had no idea. And my coworker explained he and 3 other people at this party used to work in Germany, and that's how they know each other. My girlfriend pulled me aside and said she's so embarrassed and wants to go home. I told her no, I'm having a good time here, and she's begging me to bring her back, saying she's so embarrassed and she can't handle this. I told her she shouldn't talk bad about people, and she's getting what she deserved. This broke out into a screaming match. She demanded I give her the car keys, and I refused. We stayed at the party for another 2 to 3 hours. She talked to some other girls, but was kind of quiet. On the ride home, we got into another argument where she says I should have taken her side, and I unleashed a lot of my frustration onto her, saying she is actually the one causing embarrassment by insulting my coworker. She blamed me for not telling her he speaks German. I told her that wasn't relevant, and I never thought to bring it up. I honestly didn't know he spoke it that well. He just briefly mentioned living in Germany once at a meeting. So yeah, was I wrong here? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Why didn't you just get her a cab? Did everyone at the party enjoy her company or the 2 of you yelling? Everyone sucks here. Punishing her by making everyone else put up with her isn't fair to them. I don't think either of you are getting another invitation. Edit. I see that cabs are expensive and she wouldn't pay, but is that a reason to make everyone at the party put up with her? If I was the host, I'd be asking you both to leave. Comment 2. I know I'm going to get downvoted, but after carefully reading your comments, everyone sucks here. Sure, she was the jerk for her behavior, but you knew she couldn't leave without your car. So for that, you are also the jerk. And I'm picking some major teach her a lesson vibes here, which is manipulative and hurtful. You could have driven her and then returned to the party if you really wanted to stay that much. Do you even like her? Now for the update. I'm back with another update, and it's been a wild few months since the last incident with Chloe and the coworker. So much has happened that I didn't even have time to update you guys. But here we are, and I hope you're ready for this. So, a few months passed since the incident with the coworker. Chloe and I were still together, but things were pretty much the same. She was mostly quiet at home, and we didn't get into many arguments, but there was a lot of awkward silence. But we were getting through it, I guess. A few weeks ago, my mom invited Chloe and me to a family gathering for her birthday. It was at this nice restaurant with a private room reserved for the family, which is always a good sign. My younger sister Mia was there, and she brought her new boyfriend Alex, who was meeting the family for the first time. I really like Alex. He's a cool guy, and I've heard Mia talk about him a lot, so it was nice to finally meet him. During dinner, Mia mentioned how she and Alex had traveled to Germany recently, and then Chloe, overhearing this, started making these really snide comments about Mia's choice of vacation. She was complaining really loudly about how Germany was so overrated and how she disliked the German food. I was just sitting there, trying to keep my mouth shut while Mia looked uncomfortable, and Alex was just trying to change the subject by asking about my work. But Chloe wasn't having it. I was super embarrassed, and I could feel my family members exchanging awkward glances. After dinner, Mia pulled me aside and expressed her frustration about Chloe's behavior, which I totally understood. but I just shrugged it off and said that Chloe just had a bad day. Later that night, Chloe confronted me about Mia's comments, claiming that they were ganging up on her, and I lost it. I pointed out that Chloe was the one causing scenes during dinner, and then she insisted that my family was out to get her. She kept demanding more support from me, and we ended up arguing in the car on the way home with our voices raised. A week later, I found out from some mutual friends that Chloe had been spreading rumors about Mia's boyfriend, Alex. I was shocked, so I confronted Chloe about it and demanded that she stop, but she just dismissed my concerns and said that she was just sharing her opinion. That was it for me. I decided to talk to Mia and Alex to set the record straight. I invited them over for coffee to discuss everything that happened. During the coffee meetup, Mia revealed that she had heard from others about Chloe's comments, and I felt compelled to share with Mia all of Chloe's negative remarks to clear the air. Mia thanked me for being honest and expressed her worries about Chloe's behavior. Then, out of nowhere, Chloe showed up at the coffee meetup. She walked in and overheard the conversation about her comments, and she immediately got defensive. Chloe accused me of betraying her and putting our relationship at risk. I stood my ground and said that I was protecting my sister from her negativity, and then Chloe stormed out, shouting that I'd regret this. The following weeks were really uncomfortable. Chloe was avoiding me all the time, and we barely talked at home. At a family barbecue a few weeks ago, Chloe showed up uninvited and tried to create drama. She confronted Mia in front of everyone, and I had to intervene and tell her to leave. That's when she retaliated by causing a scene, claiming I didn't support her. My family sided with me, which I was really grateful for, but it just made Chloe feel more isolated. After that barbecue, I decided to cut ties with Chloe. I informed her that I needed time apart to think about our relationship. That's when Chloe threatened to ruin my family's reputation if I left her. I didn't even know what she meant by that, but I didn't really care because I was done with her. A month later, Mia and Alex invited me to a party to celebrate their engagement. I was really happy for them, and I couldn't say no. At the party, I felt so free and happy without Chloe's negativity around. I realized I had gained a lot of support from my family and friends, and it was just so refreshing. I mentioned Chloe's threats to Mia, and she suggested that I document everything just in case. I decided to gather evidence of Chloe's behavior, and you know what? It's been kind of a relief to have this distance from her. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. So that's where I'm at now. Just dealing with this mess, trying to get my life back together, and watching Chloe spiral into her own problems. It's been a ride, but I'm grateful for the family and friends I have. That's it for now. Edit. Several people in the comments asked about my relationship with Chloe before these incidents. It was mostly fine, but I overlooked some red flags. Am I the idiot for refusing to help my mom create a perfect blended family after she married a control freak? My parents divorced when I, 18-year-old male, was 6. My younger sister was 4 and my younger brother was 3. They shared custody 50-50 of us ever since, though now I don't have a custody arrangement set up because I'm an adult now and no longer part of any of that. I stay with my dad now. Mom remarried when I was 11 and my siblings were 9 and 8. Her husband was divorced, had 2 kids who were 8 and 6. He had primary custody of them, but in the summer they'd spend more time with their mom. My mom and her husband moved in together a month before the wedding. From that point on, they created these really strict, really weird, and really crazy rules that basically made sure we were never a blended family, and there was always animosity. Those rules were, if you want permission for something, ask your new parent, not the regular one. No biological siblings only playing, everyone has to mix. No closed bedroom doors. We want to see if you're mixing. Every day you'll tell the people in the family one thing you love about them. You must give everyone hugs before leaving the house. No step half nonsense in this house. There were others. Those were the most damaging ones. My mom told me she wanted us to be a happy blended family, and she did not want favoritism between parents or siblings. She told me I didn't just have a brother and sister anymore, I had 2 of each. I also had a second dad. They enforced this too, or tried to. The hugs never took off, and I never ever told her husband or his kids stuff I loved about them. I never loved them to begin with. The rules led to fights, to us pretty much causing chaos if they took us places. We were all grounded pretty much all the time at their house. We also started doing stuff to make sure family vacations couldn't happen together. Her husband's kids would make plans with their mom to go to her place during weeks when he and mom had a vacation booked. My siblings and I would ask Dad to book his vacation first and put it in their app. My mom and her husband would get so frustrated, and they'd try to give us these talks. Mom would come to me and say I was the oldest and needed to set an example. And now that I no longer go to Mom's house, my siblings don't want to either and make a bigger deal out of it. Mom called me yesterday and told me I needed to help create the family unit they fought so hard for before it's too late. She mentioned me being the oldest again and how I should be there for a week when we can all be a family. I told her, no, I don't want to, and we're not a family. I told her they messed up. They need to admit it, and they need to find a way forward. Because none of the kids they set so many rules for want to be family. Mom started crying on the phone to me, asking why I wanted to ruin her marriage and rejected the family they were trying to be. How could I say they failed when we wouldn't even try? Am I the jerk? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. First, you are 18 years old. You can pretty much be or say what you want to do. She can't ground you, and none of you should have been grounded for not hugging someone. Likewise, her marriage issues are not your issues. I kind of get the thoughts of the integration, though they should have taken you on group outings prior to even marrying. Let things happen organically, e.g., one thing you love every day could have been one nice thing each person did, or that you like about them once a week, and it's positive but much lower stakes. Tiba, you and your step-siblings kind of crack me up. While it doesn't seem you bonded, it does seem that you are all on the same page. You are like mini co-workers who all figured out ways to subvert a dumb boss together, but don't actually want anything to do with each other beyond the mandated minimum. Likewise, why all the rules? A lot of these rules are over the top, even if you were bio-siblings. At a certain point, they should have realized their rules weren't working, and that certain point should have been in the first month or two. You can't ground kids into loving each other. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You lived in a house 50% of the time where you couldn't close your bedroom door for 7 years? Damn. How does anyone create such an insane rule and not know they are completely in the wrong? I'm so sorry you had to grow up like that, OP. Now for the update. 2 days after I last talked to my mom, I got this text from my younger brother, Max. He said that our mom and stepdad were having a family dinner to talk things over. I found that kind of funny, since I hadn't been to her house in months. Max insisted that everyone was invited, including me and my siblings. I just ignored the invite because it seemed pointless to even go. After that, I got a follow-up text from Max asking if I was really going to miss out on a family meeting. I rolled my eyes at that. I mean, come on, a meeting? It was going to be chaos, not a meeting. Then Max sent another message saying that our mom was really upset and wanted me to come, and that made me chuckle. The next day, I was out with some friends when I got a call from my sister, Lily. She told me that our mom was crying about the family dinner and how we didn't care. I just sighed and said it was her rules that pushed us away. Then Lily said that our stepdad was trying to make things right and wanted to talk to me. I thought that was odd because he usually stayed out of this kind of stuff. A few hours later, I got a video call from Max, and he looked pretty worried. He showed me that our mom had put up these signs around the house that said family first. I couldn't help but laugh and said it felt like a cult. Then Max told me that our stepdad had put together a family game night to bring everyone closer. I just shook my head at the thought of forced fun. A couple of days later, I ran into my mom at the grocery store. She was with her friend, and I overheard her saying that the family was falling apart. The following weekend, the family game night happened without me. Max texted me during the night saying it was awkward and there was tension. I decided to visit my dad instead, who was cooking dinner all alone. We talked about the family game night, and I shared Max's updates with him. My dad just shrugged it off and said it was just a phase our mom was going through. The next day, I got this long message from my mom. In the message, she accused me of abandoning the family and not being supportive. I found that kinda ironic, considering her rules were what drove us apart in the first place. That evening, Lily called me, sounding super distressed. She said that our stepdad was really upset about the family dynamics and was thinking about getting a family therapist. I couldn't believe it. I never thought our stepdad would suggest therapy. A few days later, I found out that Max was secretly attending the family dinners. He told me that he felt guilty for not being there to support our mom. I was just a mix of frustrated and shocked at Max's decision. I decided to confront Max about being disloyal the next time we hung out. That confrontation led to a pretty heated argument where Max accused me of being selfish. It ended with him storming out, leaving me really frustrated. I'm just feeling pretty lost right now. Like, I don't know how to deal with all this family drama or how to get through to my siblings. It's just so frustrating that Max doesn't see how messed up our mom's behavior is, and I don't want to lose him to this. Like, I feel we are losing Lily too. I'm just so tired of feeling like the bad guy in all this when I'm just trying to protect myself. Not sure what to do next, so any advice would be much appreciated. Edit. The family game night happened about 2 months ago, and my mom's friend was at the store a couple of weeks later. I didn't get a chance to talk to my dad about it for a while since he was busy with work. I think him and his girlfriend are having some issues too. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.